Hi, my name is Musaad P. Mama. I am the first reporter of this group, and the item that I choose that can be connected to calculator is ruler. Ruler, an instrument for the measurement. The ruler is the most common measuring device in the United States. Most rulers have imperial measurements along one long edge, while the other long edge shows the metric measurements. A ruler is sometimes called a rule or line gauge. It's a device used in geometry and technical drawing as well as the engineering and construction industries to measure distances or draw straight lines. We have types of ruler. Number 1 is desk ruler. Number 2, steel rule. Number 3, meter stick. Number 4, tape measure. And number 5, folding rule, which is usually used by the carpenters. Measurements in a ruler. A standard ruler is 12 inches long and 30 centimeters in length. Throughout the history, humans usually take their parts of the body as measuring units. That was long, long ago. Such units are hand, foot, or cubit. The metric system was invented in France for easier measuring, and by the end of the 18th century, most of the countries in the world adopted it. People are using things to help them measure something for more than 4,000 years. So how can measurements in a ruler be transferred in a calculator? Basically, measurements are directly connected to calculator. In what way? Because in geometry, lines and distances are measured and sometimes added as asked in a specific topic in geometry. And also, possible ways that measurements are used in the calculators is in drawings, wherever it was technical drawing or just a simple drawing and it needs to be measured. Usually, the main thing that can be used for that is a ruler, which can be depending on the usage of a ruler. Like for example, when building a table, you will usually use folding rule because it was longer than the usual ruler, which is 5 meters long. And for measuring the waist of a human, they used tape measure because it was foldable and easy to handle. In most of the PE class, they use meter stick. When there are activities that need to be measured in meters, they literally use meter stick to be more specific in measurements. So basically, ruler and measurements in the ruler are possible ways to be connected to. As years pass by, there are many inventions that are connected to calculator, which is one is the one that I discussed, a ruler, which is one of the examples where measurements can be transferred easily to calculator.
Hi everyone, my name is Johaina and I am the second reporter of this group. So, the invention that I chose was solar energy. Let's get started.
I know all of you are very familiar with this since it is always present in our surroundings. So what does solar energy mean? Solar energy is simply light and heat come from the sun. How is solar energy produced? It is produced when sunlight strikes solar panels, which turns solar power into usable electricity. For example, in the first diagram, as we can see, it has a sun that produces energy, which is solar energy. And when that energy hits the solar panel, it will generate electricity. So let's go to the history of calculator. This is Sharp L8026, the first solar calculator hit the market in 1976, nicknamed Sunman. We're among the first calculator equipped with solar cells, though it is used for charging internal batteries rather than using power solar cells. So let's proceed to the diagram. We observe that the solar cells of this calculator located at the back, and when opening the case of the calculator, it reveals the chargeable battery pack made of 3 bottom cells at the left, and has a solar cells charged at the right. Trivia time! Did you know that the first solar-powered calculators were invented in 1978? Yes, it is still patent in 1978, followed the Sharp L8026, which was released 2 years earlier. So, the Sharp L8026 and Tilpoten has 2 years gap. The Tilpoten appears to have been the first commercial solar cell-powered calculator and so is without an on or off. Let's go to the diagram. We observe that the solar cell of the calculator located at the top of the calculator, unlike Sharp L8026. And when opening the case of this calculator, we observe that there is a lack of any battery, so only solar energy is the only solution to generate this tilt button. The big question is, how solar energy connected in the history of calculator? It is simply because
Without the help of solar energy, those history of calculator will be not working, especially the tilt button, since it is lack of any battery inside. So for that reason, the solar energy is important for those history of calculator.
Hi, I am by Fauzia A. Marahom Salik, the last reporter of this group. The item that I have been chose is the two counter colors. Let's go. Let us define first what is the two counter colors. It is or are excellent for sorting, counting, and some probability activities, which is great for teaching many early math concepts and build some counting skills. The size of this item was 1 diameter. Two counter colors is composed of two colors, which are the red for the addition and yellow for the subtraction. Yes, it is a toy. It was hands-on in manipulatives, which allows the student to count, sort, group, add, and subtract in a basic or sentences way of the mathematics. So these are the example of the number sentences. On the other hand is the basic math concept. So, in just a small piece of a toy, it can create a lot of methods or creativity. Next, why did I choose that item to relate in the history of the calculator? It's just because during the ancient time, our ancestors are used to count with their fingers. Stones, shadow textures came from the sun. No, it was in the Sumeria and Egyptians' base, who's determining the time by simply watching the figure in the tree stone who build a formation time and later on adopted by the Romans. Okay, so before, even our ancestors was used to count in a basic way. They also started in a basic system before they formulate or invent an professional kind of a calculator. No, one of the example is the abacus, which is the older version of the calculator. I relate the item to the history of the calculator as a basic concept or as a basic or as a first step in creating a valuable modern calculator. So next explanation that may support why did I choose this item to relate in the calculator is I believe that the true calculator was originally invented by Blaise Pascal. His inventory was Pascaline calculator. Okay, like all other electronic devices, calculator work by processing information in a binary form. We're used to thinking of numbers in our normal base 10 system in which there are 10 digits to work with. So, syempre, ikaw, for example, ikaw, let me say magaling ka sa math, you know how to calculate things, like times 3, times 4, times 5, and many more. But, do you think kapag 0 to 10 numbers, kaya mo siyang i-add easily? Di ba hindi? So, that is why we formulate this calculator. Okay? Blaise Pascal used to create a calculator in a binary number system. Pag sinabing binary, bi, no? It means dalawa lang yung gumagalaw, which is the 0 and the 1. What is this item? 0 is responsible for the off, while 1 is responsible for the on. So, ano nga ba ito? No, palawakin natin. 0 for the on, for the off, which is kapag nag-clear ka ng isang data sa calculator. 1 naman ang ginagamit for pag gusto mo ng 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pag click mo from 1 to 10, ang responsible that is si 1s. Then, pag nagbalik ka na naman sa 0, ang responsible naman dyan is si 0s. Okay? So, okay, why did I connect again this to the item that I have been chose? It's just because the two counter colors is composed of two items, which is the red and the yellow, where red is for addition and yellow is for subtraction. So, yung red color yun doon is yung nagsisimbolize as the 1s, while yung yellow doon is nagsisimbolize as the 0s. Na kung saan, isang negative type ng dalawang counter kanina is yung yellow, which represent as the off, while the red naman is the positive, which is the on. So, ano yung behind, no? Behind doon sa calculator na nagpapatakbo para gumana ang ating 0s and 1s. So, doon na tayo ma-fall sa transistors, which is this transistors is derived from the word transfer resistance or transfer resistors, kaya transistors. Okay? Sabi nga niya is, the more transistors an integrated circuit has, the more advanced mathematical functions it can perform. Where today's scientific calculators, for example, can be performed incredibly in advance. No? So, in just a simple two tips of 0s and 1s, we can formulate a modern calculator, no? Which started in a basic way, no? So from basic structure of our ancestors, which is the oldest version of the calculator, the abacus, then later on nag-invent kasi naging modern, naging mas matalino, naging mas matalinhaga at mananaliksik sila, kaya naka-formulate sila ng mas maganda at mas modernong calculator. So as I relate this item of the two counter calculators, which start in the basic steps, then later on create a manipulative and exaggerated item of a calculator. Thank you.